You spent the night transitioning from playing with dogs to being super macho. Others need to exercise their bodies for several years, but you can achieve it in a few steps. However, you are still distressed because of your poor physique. Although it improves your physical fitness, it doesn't change your appearance from that of a geeky dog. It seems like no living beings are allowed to enter your presence. Just one glance from you can immediately silence a crying baby. Your mere wave can intimidate even the most vicious prisoner. Currently, you are on Metro Line 2 in Ningbo City. Today is the day when major colleges and universities begin their classes. The train carriages are almost packed, but one of the carriages in Metro Line 2 has mostly emptied. The reason is simply that there's a man standing in it, a man who terrifies everyone who looks at him. He stands at a height of 2 meters, with his head towering over the armrest. He can reach out and touch the sky of the carriage. His broad physique is even larger than the waistline of the women present. Combined with his menacing appearance, he resembles the devil himself. A single sweep of his gaze makes the people around him tremble. Inside the carriage, a 3-year-old girl caught a glimpse of him and was immediately pulled back by her mother, who quietly scolded her in a hushed voice, "Don't stare, or he might take you away and eat you." Yet, you remained completely still, patiently waiting for the subway to arrive. Today is the day you're going to college to enroll. It's your first time in Ningbo City, but you've already witnessed this strange reaction from the people around you. After all, you've been deemed too formidable. Reflecting on this, a wry smile appears on your face. It has been 5 years since you crossed into this world and awakened the super macho system. Completing tasks assigned by the system earns corresponding rewards. Initially, you were thrilled and content with the rewards. However, as the rewards kept increasing, you grew more and more disheartened. The rewards given by the system were different from anything you had read in novels. In those stories, people were granted futuristic technology or possessed invincible superpowers. But here, it was a different story: physical enhancement, strengthening the body, gaining an additional centimeter in height every 5 years. That's how you ended up with this fierce appearance. Just as you were lost in your thoughts, a melodious ringtone brings you back to reality. You retrieve your phone from your pocket and see a message from a woman named Niang Cannon, a netizen who goes by the username Gongza. The text reads, "When will the macho man arrive at college today?" You had encountered Niang Cannon Gongza when playing games after crossing into this world. Both of you were highly skilled but not convinced of each other's abilities. After several competitions without a clear winner, you decided to become friends. Over time, through conversations and gaming sessions, the two of you found great compatibility. 5 years have passed, and this sissy boy has become your best friend in this world. You haven't met each other in person or seen photos. Everyone assumes you are both male and engage in speculative conversations. Physical appearance doesn't matter in your friendship. Glancing at her message, you promptly reply, "I just boarded the subway. It's quite a challenge for me to get there." Pressing the send button, you return your gaze to the bend in the subway, awaiting the arrival of your destination. Soon, a response arrives from the other side. "Are you scared of me?" The internet claims you're 2 meters tall and muscular. In reality, 9 out of 9 of these people are just ordinary geeks. You chuckle and reply, "That's right. I'm currently on the subway." You read the message from the other person and let out a silent laugh. Whether they believe it or not, they will find out when you meet in person someday. You dislike lying. The school is still 5 stops away on Metro Line 2. The lady on the other end of the phone was shocked to hear that there were 5 more stops on Metro Line 2. This inexplicable reaction from her puzzles you. Is there something surprising about it? Just as you're about to ask her why she's so surprised, a familiar electronic sound interrupts you. A new task has been refreshed. It reads, "In Carriage 3, secretly capture a photo of the most attractive girl for the old lecherous group." The host requests assistance. Reward, 10,000 credits. Your eyes well up with tears upon seeing this reward. After waiting for 5 years, the monetary reward has finally appeared. It's not about self-improvement. It's the kind of money you can easily earn. You can't help but think, that's some easy money. Without hesitation, you decide to seize the opportunity and catch the old lecherous man. You've done tasks like this countless times in your hometown, especially during the summer. You would borrow one or two almost every week. Glancing at carriage number 4, you take a step towards the front of the train. The people in carriage 4 see the demon-like man walking toward them, causing their bodies to tremble. Everyone quickly moves to the edge, too afraid to make a sound. The previously crowded carriage suddenly becomes spacious as you pass through the crowd and head towards carriage 3, where the mission requires you to be. Meanwhile, on the other side, Peace Rock holds his phone, feeling his heart pounding heavily. The macho guy actually mentioned that he's on the number 2 subway and that there are 5 stops to Ningbei University. Does that mean they are on the same subway train? Panic sets in. Peace Rock isn't ready to meet in person. It's so sudden. Binyan's mind flashes back to the past 5 years. That guy has been there for him, even if only online. He has been a great support, especially during his high school years, filled with pressure from parents and teachers. Without this guy's nagging and consolation, he doesn't know if he would have made it through and been accepted into Ningbei University. Binyan sometimes doubts whether this guy is truly only 19 years old. His way of speaking and his mindset seem so mature and sophisticated. However, last month, he received an acceptance letter from Ningbei University, and that's when he truly believed that the macho man is indeed 19 years old and soon to be his junior. Binyan starts typing a message on his phone when he suddenly feels a presence behind him, as if someone's eyes are fixed on him. He quickly glances over and his face changes slightly. It's a middle-aged man with a lewd appearance, continuously staring at his legs. If that was the extent of it, he might be able to tolerate it for a while. But the lewd man's phone camera seems to be aimed at him discreetly all the time. A woman's intuition told him that this man was secretly filming him, and the angle was extremely disgusting. Binyan's teeth clenched in surprise. He was afraid that he had encountered the infamous subway pervert. What should he do? The subway was crowded with people, making it difficult for him to change his position even if he wanted to. And looking at the familiar face of the pervert, it was clear that he was a repeat offender. However, without concrete evidence, even if he accused the man, he couldn't be arrested. The frustrating and complicated situation made Binyan panic and uncomfortable. The wretched middle-aged man next to him seemed to sense that his actions had been discovered. Instead of panicking, a smug smile appeared on his face. He took a half-step closer to his target, a sweet-looking female college student, treating her like his usual prey. She didn't dare to speak or resist. The lewd middle-aged man showed excitement. But just as he was about to adjust the camera angle on his phone to a more provocative position, a deep voice came from behind him. Taking candid photos of girls, have you stooped so low in all these decades? The expression on the wretched middle-aged man's face changed. He swiftly pressed the lock screen button and discreetly slipped the phone into his pocket, his movements appearing natural and effortless. He didn't turn his head but started defending himself. He claimed that he was falsely accused without evidence. He was a man who exposed such behaviors, and even if someone asked him to hand over his phone, he wouldn't panic because he had another hidden phone in his pants pocket. Shifting blame and changing the narrative was his tactic. But before he could break free from this routine, the next moment unfolded unexpectedly. It wouldn't be accurate to say that someone had called him out. "You better let me go, or I'll call the police," shouted the lewd middle-aged man angrily. He swung his fist forcefully from behind. The other party was merely defending himself against the initial aggression. The situation escalated. He could only feel his fists hanging like steel plates. He grimaced in pain and finally turned his head to see who had lifted him up. What he saw terrified him. The lewd middle-aged man instantly felt his breath seize up. Fear consumed his eyes. Tremors shook his body. Especially when faced with the intense gaze of the other person, death seemed imminent. And he might not survive the next second. With a pale face, the lewd middle-aged man begged for mercy, his legs trembling uncontrollably. Urine ran down his legs, a result of his fear-induced loss of control. Once you captured this despicable man, silence fell over the scene. Every passenger stared at you in astonishment. This man was truly terrifying, akin to a humanoid monster. It felt like a scene from a horror movie. The powerful aura emanating from you was terrifying, and the scent of depravity began to fill the carriage, causing many to cover their noses. With a disapproving frown, you snorted. At that moment, the subway arrived at the next station, and the doors slowly opened. Taking advantage of the open doors, you flicked your right hand and threw the wretched middle-aged man aside. Simultaneously, you walked out yourself. The stench of urine in the carriage was unbearable, and you couldn't stand to stay there any longer. Help! Help! The lewd middle-aged man shouted as he recoiled, no longer pretending. He's really asking for help, his legs trembling without strength. He can't stand up if he tries. He feels that if he doesn't call for help soon, he may not see the sun tomorrow. You both exchange cold glances until you point to the middle-aged man. Your task is simply to help the girl escape from the lewd man's peeping and filming. It seems that the task has been completed. As for what to do with this perverted man, it's none of your concern. Thank you. Thank you. A small voice comes from behind you. You turn and look. It was the girl's phone that was just stolen by the perverted middle-aged man. What about the girls he filmed? Are they okay? You ask. I'm fine, He Bingdian says, her eyes slightly red. She steals a glance at you and quickly looks away. Tears are on the edge of her eye sockets. She was just in a crisis and suddenly found security. It's a huge psychological shift. Back home, the man who helped her looks terrifying, like a humanoid monster. Especially when he talks, there's a strong sense of oppression. Maybe this is what my brother often describes as a giant in mobile games. But just as he's thinking, his phone suddenly rings, accompanied by a few shouts, bringing him back to reality. Hey, what are you doing? Stop and call for backup at the station. We need backup at the station. Two subway workers with guard sticks hear the cry for help and run towards you. But when they stand in front of you and shout, they are stunned. What's the situation with this person? Is he even human? Even though they deal with thousands of people every day, the staff members are also frightened by your appearance. One staff member even secretly takes out his phone, ready to call the police. The passengers waiting for the subway here retreat, looking at you in horror. They don't understand the situation, but their instinct to protect the weak causes them to generate assumptions. This fierce man is confronting that middle-aged man. People around you whisper about your appearance. Security, he was going to kill me. Arrest him, shouts the perverted middle-aged man, stepping back and continuing to hurl insults at you. Your eyes narrow slightly, releasing a dangerous aura. The temperature on the subway platform instantly drops several degrees. Those filled with obscenity are even more afraid, regret starting to creep into their hearts. Why did I provoke this formidable person? It's not true. This guy was on the subway earlier, secretly taking videos of me with his phone, and they were perverted candid shots. Then this strong man stood up and helped me, throwing the pervert out of the subway. A girl's voice speaks up. It's He Bingdian. She hesitates for a few seconds, then breaks through her psychological defenses, summoning the courage to stand in front of the powerful man, shielding him from the questioning gazes of others. What she said is true. This middle-aged man doesn't seem like a good person. You can't judge people solely by their appearance. Although this macho man does resemble a villain, it doesn't mean he's a bad person. I believe what this beautiful young lady said. I truly do, she states. You're a little surprised, looking at the girl standing in front of you. This amazing feeling is something you've never experienced before. Glancing at the time, you take a step towards the despicable middle-aged man. What are you going to do? He shouts. Hey, don't stop this person. Call the police, call the police. The panicked middle-aged man cries. Is this man going to kill someone in public? Am I going to die here today? He wonders. Don't come near me. He shouts, while the uniformed staff next to him have the intention to obstruct. They look at your size and don't dare to intervene. Let's wait for the support team to arrive, they suggest. Approaching the despicable middle-aged man with a calm face, you don't utter a word and lift him directly off the ground, resembling Lin Xiaoji. Then, with disdain, you reach into the pocket of his pants and pull out two phones, secretly capturing the physical evidence. This person is a repeat offender. Just send him to the police station, you declare, dropping the phones and walking straight into the subway, leaving behind the weight of ignorance. By the time they react, the electric doors of the next subway have already closed. He Bingdian hesitates and tries to chase after you, but she falls short by a step. In truth, she had mustered the courage to apologize, but the big bear left first. He Bingdian secretly tests the waters, asking if she should wait for the next subway. In that moment, there is no panic in her eyes, or rather, in her perception. You're a bit fierce, but you're still a very kind person, she reflects. Meanwhile, inside the carriage, your phone vibrates twice. You open it to find a bank notification. Exactly 10,000 units, not a penny more or less. You chuckle, acknowledging the reliability of the system. It's fine for you to laugh, but the passengers next to you see this formidable man staring at his phone and sneering, causing an unsettling feeling to settle in their hearts. It's as if a chill runs through them. Don't laugh, big brother. When you laugh, it makes me nervous, a passenger can't help but think. Before you have a chance to rejoice, another burst of messages comes through on your phone. You pat your head, realizing that you forgot to reply to your good buddy. The maiden cannon's message reads, I saw a formidable man over there. Are you almost at Ningbei University? Let me tell you, just a moment ago, I was only half a minute away from a big black bear. It was meters away from me, and I almost got eaten by it. You press the send key and respond, don't believe it. I should have taken a picture with my phone to show you. That big black bear is incredible. It can lift an adult with one hand. Keep going, I'll silently watch you pretend. Well, let's not talk about that. Aren't you on the subway? Have you seen any particularly beautiful sights? We have many of them in Ningbei. There are some very attractive girls, He Bingdian says on the other end of the phone, pouting. Her fingers press the buttons quickly. After having just narrowly escaped being killed by a humanoid bear, and with the monster having saved her, she tells the macho man. But when she considers how she is perceived in his eyes, her image as a good buddy, the words immediately cease. She cares deeply for and respects the macho man, and revealing her true gender may result in losing that friendship, something she desperately wishes to avoid. Since she can't recall when it started, the macho man has become an integral part of her life. After a few more words, the conversation comes to an end. Ningbei University was also close to He Bingdian, who turned off her mobile phone. She didn't know when she would meet the macho man. If he ever sees her like this, what kind of expression would he have? The thought excited her. In that moment, a red banner hung at the entrance of Ningbei University. The banner read, Welcome to the class of 2021 Ningbei University freshmen, and many seniors were present to welcome the new students. They helped with luggage and provided information about the university campus, especially the attractive and popular ones. Who wouldn't want to make friends with a handsome classmate or a beautiful newcomer? As the new students gathered at the school gate, the atmosphere grew lively. However, in the next moment, silence fell upon the audience because of an imposing figure approaching the gate. No one uttered a word, and all that could be heard was the sound of swallowing saliva. The eyes of everyone at the school gate reflected horror and fear. The two guards stationed there also noticed the tension in the air. When they followed everyone's gaze, they too were taken aback. What should we do? One guard whispered to the other. We need to apprehend that person quickly. If something goes wrong, we should call for backup. Both guards wore serious expressions and had their helmets equipped with security gear and weapons. As they approached the tall figure, they felt an overwhelming sense of pressure, causing their faces to pale slightly. Hey, this is Ningbei University. Members of the public are not allowed to enter at will, one of the guards managed to say, suppressing his inner fear. The two doormen maintained a tough and stern appearance, but their eyes revealed their hidden fear. Their trembling calves betrayed their nervousness. The surrounding students breathed a sigh of relief when they saw the doorman stopping the intimidating man. I'm a student here too. Why won't you let me in? You said calmly, showing no sign of anger. It's just a misunderstanding. I've gotten used to this kind of situation. The two doormen appeared unlucky, not daring to let the guard down. If such a dangerous individual were allowed onto the campus, they wouldn't have a job left. Know that talking too much won't do any good, you remarked, pulling out the acceptance letter and ID card from your backpack. The two guards and the onlookers were dumbfounded. The first thought that crossed their minds was that the acceptance letter must be fake. However, after thoroughly inspecting it, they had to accept the truth. The person in front of them, named Ling Chen, was indeed 19 years old, and the acceptance letter was genuine. But despite this, Your imposing presence and fierce gaze remained. Apologies for our overreaction. You may proceed inside. The two doormen quickly apologized to you. The fear in their eyes had diminished slightly, but it was still present. You waved your hand, unfazed, and continued dragging your suitcase through the school gate. After taking a few steps, you suddenly stopped. Excuse me, where is the registration area and the dormitory for new students? You wanted to ask the two doormen. However, when you turned around, you noticed that the guards had hurriedly retreated to their room and closed the door. At that moment, a panting figure caught up with you, blocking your path. How did you move so fast? I couldn't catch up with you, the figure said, panting. But before you could respond, their gaze fell upon the acceptance letter that was now in your hands.